All right, so the agent update and sales track training review for February 19th. I'm going to review our first 6 lessons of sales track, probably every single training call we have. Starting point, with whom do I start? Number 2 is your 15-second commercial. Number 3 is the use of qualifiers and tie downs. Number 4 is your personal and your borrowed story. This, you should watch the videos, self-training. If you are in debt, I'm telling you this right now, you should buy the Worth Account program, because one of the first things you're going to hear from someone is, do you own the program? The litmus test, which is a scale of 1 to 5, and setting your appointment in stone, which we can be referring to a corporate or field closer, or run your own analysis and close your own deals. We're finding that more and more people that are coming in brand new are using a corporate or a field closer in order to get this achieved. But if you've been with us for a while, you know how to run your analysis. Darlene is an absolute master in this area of running the analysis and doing her closings on her own. I would encourage you to follow the process. Just as with any presentation of materials, concepts, or products, there are individual steps which must be observed. These components are as follows: the introduction, the body and information gathering and rapport, the summary and results, which is what we're talking about today, which will be your second appointment, and closing the deal. In reviewing our lesson from last week, we discussed in detail the second appointment basics and getting your prospect to say yes. I don't know if you all understand how important it is to get your client on your side, to be an advocate for that client, to get that client to trust in you and get them saying yes. And we talked about what is the easiest way to get them to say yes is to review their analysis with them. Just go over their information. There's another concept in here of, and I know a lot of people don't like the term, but it is a sales term, is making them feel the pain, which is revisiting their current situation. So if you run their analysis and then you just show up and start going through the analysis, you've really missed a very integral step, a couple of integral steps. When you show up for that second appointment, you should first off just make sure everybody's still on the same page. You should make sure what they are trying to accomplish through this appointment. That's what our field closers do. That's what our corporate closers do. And then you should review their numbers with them. Number 1, for accuracy, and number 2, it allows that individual to revisit their current situation, and that's called making them feel the pain. Most people are wanting some kind of relief, but most people are very guarded. You know, we approach this idea of getting people to say yes by getting them to say yes with you, by bringing up information that they already agree with, that they've already given you, and that puts them in a more affable or malleable position for you to be able to work with these people. Remember, sales is an art form and encompasses a deep study in human nature and response. We have to gear our minds and gear our concepts and ideas towards the idea of what it is that we are truly trying to accomplish. With everything that we do, we should have a goal in mind. We should have a plan of action. We have talked about the fact that it's one thing to have a plan of action, but you also need to have a plan to carry out that plan of action. All right. So tonight we're going to talk, and over the next 4 weeks, we're going to talk about using the analysis as a closing tool. There's the old concept of leading a horse to water. The more proficient you become in reading your prospect and understanding human nature and response, the more effective you will become. You can lead a horse to water, and contrary to popular belief, you can make that horse drink. If you position the material correctly, if you are truly vested in that individual client and what is going to be best for them, then you can lead that client in the direction you want to lead them. If you use your qualifiers, your tie downs, your litmus test, you're not wasting your time, you're not wasting their time. You can actually get them in a position, which I've seen many times, where the client's response at the end of going over the analysis is, how do I start, or what is my next step? If you build the value proposition for the client broad enough and strong enough, price will not be an issue. We are seeing this more and more and more. An average desktop computer nowadays is going to run you between $2,200 and $3,500 depending on how extensive that is. Your average laptop is somewhere between $700 and $1,800 depending on how advanced you want that. Telling individuals that they can take their 30-year mortgage, maybe that's not your best approach. Maybe the best approach is, do you want to take control of your finances? Do you want to learn how to thrive in a down market? Do you want to make the best out of the money that you currently have and put it in the right places so it builds a future for you? Take your time with this with the client. The analysis is an integral part of the closing process. It's essential that you take your time and review each section with your prospect to ensure that they have a clear understanding of the information being presented. Now, I have seen in many presentations where you get halfway through the analysis, you've kind of gone over, you've gone over the pain, you've gone over their numbers, and right when they see their numbers, that they ask, is this for real? And the absolute answer is yes, it is absolutely for real. I personally have never sold with a guarantee on the product. I've never told anybody, yeah, and if you go ahead and buy it, we guarantee the product. I've based this off of a value proposition to the client of how is it going to suit the needs of what we've already discussed about what it is that they are trying to accomplish. As you all know, in the back office, when you run an analysis, you have an animated analysis slideshow for you to use when reviewing the prospect's analysis. That animated slideshow was built very strategically to guide the client and lead the client along. I know that there are agents out there that are still using the PDF printout of the analysis to review that with the client because it's more tactile. If you are going through the analysis slideshow, just remember when you get to the end of the slideshow, all you have to do is click Activate Client. You can move them through the process. As you all are aware now, you have one 12% discount per month that you can assign to an individual client. That 12% discount is good for 48 hours once you activate it and assign it to the client. If the client does not buy within 48 hours, that 12% discount is done for the month. You do not have a second 12% discount. On the converse of that, we also now have in the back office that agents can discount their deals by 5%. You can do that on any deal, but do remember that that expires in 48 hours as well. So if you assign it to a client, you don't close them in 48 hours, then that 5% discount for that client is gone. We did the discount as a way to stress urgency and bring clients into saying, okay, if you buy it now, I can go ahead and do ABC for you. If you are sitting down and you are going through the closing of the sale with your client, and this is where we are right now, I mean, if you've referred it over, all of this would be done by your field closer or done by the corporate closer. If you really didn't have much of a sale, they just said, yeah, I saw it, I see it, I need it, let's get it. Just move forward while the iron is hot. Do not hand the analysis to your prospect when you show up. Do not leave them a copy until they buy the product. Why would I say that? Well, if you hand the analysis to the client, they have control of the analysis. That's one of the reasons we came up with the slideshow, was to kind of get away from that. But the reason you don't want to leave them a copy is all it does is goes through numbers, and the first thing they're going to do is share it with the people they know, and people are going to say, well, how did they come to this result? I'm going to say what I said last week. Do not let someone else represent your product or represent the sale. If you leave that second appointment and you have not closed the sale, take your analysis with you. You should be sitting alongside them. Take out a pen or a highlighter, place the printed analysis copy between you, keep your hand on the analysis and go line by line using the pen or highlighter as a pointer. You may circle, underline, or highlight areas you want them to pay special attention to. You will notice their attention will be drawn to where your instrument points. This, again, is getting the client to follow you. This is the same thing of leading a horse to water and getting them to drink. This is the same thing of them viewing you as a trusted advocate, someone that can lead them through the process. This is very important. Our sale, our product is a sale of trust. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes a true interest in wanting to help your client. So step by step, you've reviewed everything with the client. As we know, we did that last week. We went over their address, their contact information. We went over each one of their items line by line. Your Visa bill has a balance of $4,000. It's at a 9% interest rate. Your monthly payment is X. Your mortgage has 28 years remaining. It's a $200,000 mortgage. It's at 6%. It has a monthly payment of $1,199.10. Okay, so what we have done is we've already reviewed the pain with the client, and now we are going into the analysis. We have everybody on the same page. This is what your corporate closers will do. This is what your field closers will do. This is what you should be doing. So what I always did with a client is I would start over here after I had gone through it and said, right now on your bank's plan, you're going to pay back $443,674. That means you're going to pay $232,680 in interest, and you have 30 years remaining. With our plan, you will only pay back $301,971. Total interest that you're going to pay back is $90,977, and instead of 30 years, you will pay this entire mortgage off in 13.1 years. This also means that you're going to save $141,703, and you're going to save yourself 16,009 years, and you're going to save yourself 61% of the interest that you would have paid. Now, I really want you to think about that. If you've set up this sale accurately for the client, if you have done your soft closing, your tie downs, your litmus test, if you've done all of the pieces that you were supposed to be, these are staggering results for a client. I also want to draw your attention down here. By getting started today, you can save $141,000 in total interest payments over the next 13.1 years. I love this section down here, and we're going to get to that in just a moment here. Do not rush your prospect. Take your time and pause at the end of each section. Allow your prospect the time they need to process the information and to ask you any questions they may have. One of the easiest ways to answer the questions for a client is learn how to do a proficient demo. I know many of our field closers and corporate closers are used when they just get hammered with, but how does it work? How does it work? How does it work? They resort to doing a demonstration of the product for the client. That's also why we have a demo of the product on your website, so you can share that with the client if you don't feel proficient enough to do the demo. There's also a script in your agent portal for doing a proficient demo for the client, which is just a follow-along script. Always be looking at asking open-ended questions. Try to stay away from yes, no. Ask open-ended questions that forces them to respond, like, how does that information impact you? How will you, knowing this is a reality, now impact your financial future? I was extremely happy when I first saw these results for you and your family. What are you thinking right now? Get inside their head. Get them to share with you. Get them to open up. This is truly amazing for you and your family. How do you think this will affect your financial future? Are you positioning the client that they can understand they're either going to leave a legacy of debt or a legacy of wealth? This is an avenue to leading and leaving your family a legacy of wealth. Wealth is different than being rich. Wealth is something that is sustainable and something that follows you along. Second statement, you're going to go into wealth accumulation. Look at this for a moment. Would you rather just pay your mortgage off in 30 years or use our program, save $141,703, and if you took the money starting at 13.1 years for 16.9 years, the amount of time you have left on your mortgage, and just put your mortgage payments in a 1% savings account, at the end of the same 30 years, you'd have $419,854,000. In other words, you would have almost as much money sitting in the bank as you would have paid in total debts. Look at these numbers. Here was the bank's plan at 443. We pay off in 13 years. You take all your payments, drop them in an account, earning 1% only. And at the end of the same 30-year frame, you would have your mortgage paid off and $419,854 sitting in the bank. Why wait? By saving 16.9 years of debt, you could build $419,854 in wealth over the same time period. See, everything I'm talking to you about is displayed in the slideshow and displayed in the analysis for the client. So you kind of have step-by-steps of what to go over with the client, the order to go over that information to give you the best closing possible. Did you know, after reading the second statement, ask them something like, were you aware that the Worth account has the ability to assist you in accumulation of wealth as well as debt elimination? You're now broadening the aspects of the program. You're broadening their mindset to what could be achievable to the program. How does it feel to know you could have X amount of dollars in savings in the same amount of time it would have taken you without this program just to pay off your current mortgage and or other debts? All of this has been sequenced. All of this has been very carefully thought out since we started back in 2007. What we train you on is what we know works. So the comparison, I love this at the bottom, 13.1 year payoff, a payoff date of September 2028. You save 16.9 years. Your projected savings are $141,000. Average savings per month are $902.57 once this program gets rolling. And this is what I was talking to you about, a comparative interest rate, which is saying if you could take 30 years and pay it off in 13, and let's say you were at 6% interest, you would roughly be paying back 2.55% of the total interest that you should have been paying. You will theoretically be paying an interest rate of 2.55%. Now, I want you to be very careful with that because many people get misled and think you're refinancing them and you're going to offer them a rate of 2.55. Make sure that before you get to this section that they understand there's no refinance involved. Their mortgage is staying exactly the way it is. They are just going to use a program that is going to tell them when and how much money to allocate and what debt to allocate that money to. Pause for impact and make sure that they understand this. Projected payoff, years saved, projected savings, comparative interest rate. The comparative interest rates helps eliminate arguments that the prospect could just refinance to save time and interest. It is nearly impossible to get an interest rate as low as a comparative interest rate, the rate that was results from using the Worth account program. All of this is about setting the client up so they understand the materials, so they don't feel left out of the process, so they are tracking with you. Be observant. This step is a great place to take notice of the prospect's reactions, their body language, their facial expressions, and their posture. If they start to lean in, if they start to get interested, rub their chin, you've got them. Just keep moving forward. If they start to lean back, if they start to shake their head, if they start to look down, cross their legs, turn their legs away from you, these are all indicators that something is not going well. If your prospect is responding openly and feels comfortable throughout this section, this is a perfect time for your original soft close questions and your tie-down questions. Now, I can see you love the results, and I asked you before if I could show you how to save 10 years and save $50,000. Would there be any reason you wouldn't want to go forward with this? And you answered, and make them answer. And they'll say, no, I told you I would want to go forward with it. Well, I'm showing you $140,000 worth of savings and paying off in 13 years instead of 15 years. That is a way over-promise and under-deliver. So what we're really looking at doing with the client here is always set yourself up for success. Never give them the very best numbers that you can right out of the gate. That's why I always said to people, I never said if I could pay it off in 7 to 10 years. I always said in 1/2 to 1/3 the time. Because our average analysis that we run, we will pay off inside of 15 years. Take a step back. If, however, they're fidgeting and looking uncomfortable, be tactful by asking, how is this making you feel? Really get involved in that and see what they're thinking and see where they direct that piece of information. You have to keep a barometer on their actions and responses to maintain control of the process. If you ignore the client, if you don't pay attention, they can shut down on you. You're still giving out information, and then what are you doing? Wasting your time and wasting their time. You will have to reassure them if they're shutting down or do not understand the information. You can reassure them by being relevant, your personal or borrowed story, maybe one of the closing techniques, maybe relate when you were first introduced to the product, your skepticism, feel, felt, found. We're going to go into closing techniques over the next couple weeks as well. Sharing something from your own experiences, and number one, most important, that is relatable to where they are right now. You showing a sense of vulnerability is actually a positive to your client. It shows relatability. It shows that you're human. It shows that this has that what they are experiencing is not unforeseen, that other people have experienced it, that they're okay, that you can help them walk through it. Don't be afraid to ask. Be forward and empathetic enough to ask them if they are uncomfortable and if there is something they do not understand about the information being presented. It may just be that they've had a bad day. It may just be that their concentration is not on you and it's on something else. You need to find out what that is, and you need to move into that. More listening, less talk. This is where you become an active listener, is allowing the client to give you that time of feedback so you truly understand where the client is, what their intentions are, and what they are trying to achieve. Every client will tell you exactly how to close them. We have talked about this time and time again with your clients. If you listen well enough, they're going to give you all the key points that you have to hit to keep moving this sales process forward. A good rule of thumb, whatever they say initially, whatever objection they have, this is usually a smokescreen statement. Believe me, there is something deeper going on here. People typically tend to respond with the first thing that comes to mind out of nervous habit. Drill a little bit deeper with your client. A great counter move for this, they say, well, you know, I got to think about it. I've got to talk to my husband. We have to discuss it away from you. Yeah, it is making me feel uncomfortable. Yeah, I know I told you I would move forward if you could do this, and you did that. Agree and move on. Something like, I use a statement like, I understand you feel uncomfortable. What exactly is making you feel that way? Please be honest with me. I'm really here to help you. Be prepared that it could be just you, your demeanor, your approach, your appearance, your smell, the way you dress. I know that sounds really harsh, but it is a fact of sales. It is a fact of human nature. Have you ever walked into a party, you don't know too many people, and just one person, you hear their voice or the way they look, or you're around the party and just kind of drawn to them, you want to have a conversation, and there's somebody else over on another side of the party, and you just want to stay away from them. You don't know exactly why, but you just don't feel that connection. You want to stay away. This is how human nature operates. And you have to set yourself up for the best possible result for them to be accepting of you, wanting them to lead you, and having confidence in what it is that you say. People buy from people they like. And people can be turned off by the strangest things. You have heard this over and over again. You're going to hear it over and over again as long as I train. People buy on emotion and back it up with logic. You must get at the core of what is bothering or upsetting them, or you can't move the sale forward. The client's going to shut down on you. They're going to tell you they need to think about it, and then you're going to have a hard time getting them back on the phone. Take the time to find out why they're shutting down, why they feel uncomfortable, what it is, and whatever they say, don't get ruffled. Do not take their response personally. Use it as a learning opportunity. If it is something like that, you know, that is a direct response to you or skepticism, collect yourself, try to adjust, move on. It could be something altogether different. You need to find out what it is. It may not be you. It may not be the product. It may be mom and dad just went into the hospital. It could be that they're having problems at home. It could be that they're having problems on their job. It could be that situations have changed dramatically financially for them, and now more than ever they truly need your product, but they don't think they can afford it. They may have questions. You're going to have to answer their questions right here if they push it. They keep pushing, how does this work? How does this operate? What is this? You're going to have to answer these questions. And in my experience, the best way to do that is to do it with a demo, but I would suggest, however, making a statement like this right there. We're almost finished reviewing your report. Do you mind if we complete the review, and I will answer any questions you have at that time? But if they are really hung up, if they are really stuck, it's probably a good idea to stop, listen, maybe go into a demo so they understand how it operates, truly listen to what it is that is hanging them up, and address that issue. The next few weeks, we're going to take our time with the analysis as a closing tool and closing the sale. We're going to look at different techniques of closing. We're going to look at different ways of using the analysis. I know many of you are anxious to get to I closed a deal. Well, the easiest way to get to that is use those first 6 steps of sales track, get in front of as many people as you can, get as many appointments as you can, and I will promise you the deals will come. But I want each and every one of you to have the knowledge and the tools necessary to be successful. Sales, it's not easy. It's a business that requires a tough skin, as many of you are finding out. It was easy to be, if it was easy to be successful as a salesperson, everyone would do it because the rewards are so great. Sales takes trial and error. It takes patience and tact. It takes classroom and field work, but above all, it takes time, experience, and grit. This sales in itself is not for the weak of heart. Sales is for people with perseverance, determination, grit, and you have to learn your craft. You have to learn your product. You have to learn the sequence of events. Attitude determines your altitude. I love that saying. It's something my father said to me when I was really young. And what I want you all to get in your attitude is, I will master this. I will do whatever it takes inside of morality, value, ethic. I will not let this beat me. I am undefeatable. Be a wolf, not a fox terrier. Grab a hold, don't let go, and hang on for the ride. Dealing with people in itself is hard enough, let alone trying to sell them something. But in our particular world, we're not just trying to sell them something, we're trying to sell them the idea of personal debt freedom, the idea of personal wealth, the idea of buying America back one family at a time, the idea of not being a slave to your debt, not being burdened by your debt, and not being dragged down by the inconsequential. In closing, always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any other. It doesn't matter what other people tell you. It doesn't matter what I'm telling you on this call. If you don't have it built into yourself that you have a resolution that you are going to succeed in this business, that you are going to reach as many people as you can, you are going to be a part of the mission of buying America back one family at a time. John Quincy Adams says, courage and perseverance have a magic talisman before which difficulties disappear and obstacles vanish into thin air. Find that place inside yourself. Find your strength. Find your initiative so that obstacles no longer present themselves as obstacles or challenges that you must overcome. They present themselves as learning opportunities. They present themselves as just another thing in the path that you have to incorporate into what you're doing. With all of that having been said, I'm going to turn real quick to Darlene and see if she has a couple minutes to give us some comments real quick. So I'm going to go to Darlene and see if she can talk. Darlene, are you there where we can hear you? I know Darlene's on the call, but she must have come in on the computer. So I don't have an ability to bring her on. I'm going to go over to Joan Hackenstad real quick. Dr. Joan, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly. So that was our lesson for this evening. What is in 1 to 2 minutes? I know that was a lot of information. You recorded this, and that will be posted. How will they search that on YouTube, Joan?
Oh, great question. So this is going to be, I believe the title of it was Analysis Review Part 2. So it'll be Worth Unlimited Analysis Review Part 2, but you can actually go into YouTube search and you can look for Worth Unlimited Corporate Training channel, and all of the trainings that are recorded are on that channel, so you can actually do that. And I think it's banking.
So you did build a channel.
I did, yeah. So it's Worth Unlimited Corporate Training Channel.
Okay, so everybody, all you have to do in YouTube is put in Worth Unlimited Corporate Training, correct?
Channel.
Or do they have to put in channel? Okay, so Worth Unlimited Corporate, go on.
No, you're spot on. Worth Unlimited Corporate Training Channel. And I'm pretty confident my line is Banking Made Easy. Sad that I'm not 100% confident on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And then you can actually, you can not log in, but you can become tag that thing or something. I don't know. I'm not a YouTuber, but you can do something where you can get back to that channel easily so that you know when things are uploaded. It should tell you. There's some, like, you can join that channel.
You can like the channel, you can share the channel, or you can become a subscriber.
There you go.
Just so you know, on subscriber, you don't pay anything. So I would tell every single one of you that's been looking for trainings, if you've had agents that are looking for trainings, make sure you let them know that it's Worth Unlimited Corporate Training Channel. Just put that into YouTube, and it'll pull up all of the videos that we've been doing. And so, Joan, like I said, if you had just 2 minutes, what was ringing out in your mind this evening as we were going through this training?
I absolutely love this training. I thought it was fantastic. And I know that I wasn't here last week, and I apologize for that, but I love how you were saying at the beginning of that appointment, you really need to get them starting with the word yes. And there's some truthisms that you can do to get them to say yes. And I know I apologize, I'm going back a week, but I think truthisms are kind of an important thing to start. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? You're not really looking for them to respond and go into detail. You're forcing them to say yes. Kids are great, aren't they? The sunset's beautiful, isn't it? You're kind of forcing them to say yes. So getting them into that yes mindset is critical. Going over their pain, I think, is important. Being on the proper side of the table so that they know that that you are on their side. What I like to do when I'm going through that part is I like to go line by line, rounding each number. But then when I get to the total debt, I slow down. I read it kind of slow. I make sure I go down to the penny so that they can really feel that pain. I do want to help them to feel that pain. But the mindset is critical, because the mindset is, although I'm helping them feel pain, I really do want them to know I have a solution, and that's what today is all about, is showing them that you have that solution. So that mindset is critical. Your mindset is that you're focusing on your client. Your mindset is that you're keeping you and your agenda off of the table. You're there to help them. They are experiencing that pain. They are most likely feeling some form of anxiety, some form of pain associated with that debt. And remember, you have the solution. So you are the life preserver. It is not the other way around. You're not here. They're not doing you a favor by going through this. You are doing them a favor. So we really need to keep that in mind and have that proper mindset. Pausing for impact, but really reviewing hotspots. As you're going through these different lines, remind them. Remember, during our sales track, the first 6 steps, you asked them a lot of questions. You really got to know them. You really got to know their hotspots, their goals, what makes them tick. And as you're going through these results, you need to remind them of them. And I usually do that in the form of a question. I might say, hey, how do you see that this helping you with whatever it is they said that was important to them? How do you see this helping you with your goal of retiring in 10 years? How do you see this helping you with your goal of putting your kid through college in 12 years, or whatever it is that they said was important to them? I like to bring them back up as I'm reviewing them, when of course it's appropriate, and in the form of a question. Or I might pretend that I forgot and say, what was your goal again about getting out of debt? Your goal was 10 years, right? We got you debt-free in 9 years. You know, and kind of reminding them of all of those hot spots. I also love to make them sell themselves. So I always ask people, what did you like best about the results? What did you like best about the program? What did you like best about what you saw so far? And force them to give some positive results. So I really loved this training. I think you did a phenomenal job, Mac. Those are really a lot of the things that I'm taking from it. And I love that attitude determines your altitude, because that is 100% true. If you truly go in with the proper mindset, if you truly go in with the heart of a servant, if you truly go in just concentrating 100% on the person or the family in front of you, that speaks volumes, because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And if they can feel that you're truly on their side, you are miles ahead of the program. So excellent job tonight, Mac. I think you did a fabulous job. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Joan, and thank you for always jumping in. You know, you've been with us all the way back since 2007. And so that's a long time to be with the company. That's a lot of belief, a lot of action, a lot of movement on your part. And I really appreciate your dedication and I want the field to know this. Joan has mentored me as much as she's mentored other people. I look at Joan and Darlene as two resources that I go to for information pretty regularly. They're successful in the business. They operate their business in two totally, completely different ways. But I am always appreciative of both of them. And so, Joan, thank you so much for your time. I am going to jump over to Darlene real quick. She says she always has her mic on. If for some reason we can't get on, she's been typing me. Let me see if we can get Darlene. And Darlene, are you there?
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hello?
Perfectly. Last time I couldn't, so I had to move on. So 1 to 2 minutes. I saw what you wrote there. I think if you just go over those bullet points, I think you hit it right on the head. But you have a couple minutes to yourself, and just what did you take away from this, and what do you want the field to know?
Well, it was great information, and you had very good points. Joan also mentioning the fact that there are different ways of doing something to get your business going. The fact is that you've given us a straight way to go. This gives you choices to make on your own, the way that you say what you say, but the fact is the MAC has laid out the plan to get you to reach those goals that you want. But the whole thing here that I want everybody to also take away is that add power to your decision. If you want this business to be your business, not be a secret agent, and let people know what you do. You know, when you make that choice that this is what I'm going to do, follow a path, see how it works for you. And if you need to tweak it a little, you know, Joe and I and other leaders do the very same thing. We have the same goal as you do, but we tweak it here and there to make it work for us. So your commitment means action. You need to do something with it. So no matter if you take having someone else run the analysis for you, or you learning how to run the analysis and presenting and doing all that, you need to do something and give power to your choices is what I believe. And by doing that, it's giving them your full effort. Those choices that you decide, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, do something with it. And you know what? You'll never know how great you can be unless you try it. You're not going to be perfect every single time, and not everyone is going to do what you want them to do because you want them to do it. The fact is that as long as you try, you will, as long as you do what you need to do to become successful, you will have those successes. And success has to do with the fact of finding your path, finding what you want to do, and making it happen. Strive to make a difference, and you will succeed. Remember, no secret agents. Take the action and make it happen. 2018 means no waiting. 18 without waiting. Mac?
Darlene, thank you so much for your input. Everybody that was on the call this evening, thank you for joining us. Thank you for always being diligent. Darlene, as I said earlier, Darlene and Joan have been mentors to me as much as they've mentored other people. I always appreciate their information, their diligence, and these are two young ladies that absolutely have their head in the game, absolutely have the right attitude, and absolutely are successful in this business. So let's get out there and do it big. Let's get out there and do it right. But at the very least, let's get out there and do something big right now. This is Max Saunders saying bye-bye for now.